Hey there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. Today's episode is coming from my recent interactions in a health coaching certification I'm currently doing so I can sit for the health and wellness board, national board exam this year at some point. And I was put into a group. We have practice sessions in this certification, and I was put into a group. Ironically, we were practicing some things and talking about some things with some other healthcare providers also going through a coaching certification. And as they were talking, they haven't worked in the coaching, the wellness world so much. They've been just working as a healthcare practitioner. And they were asking me about my experience about going online and doing more wellness and coaching. And I've been saying this and know this for myself and been mentioning with my clients who are healthcare providers and are going online. But I don't think I've ever did a podcast on it. So I'm doing it here today. And the realization is that there is a mindset difference being a healthcare provider and then moving into the online wellness coaching space. And we're going to talk about what that looks like and what that means for you and for your clients, because I think it's a win-win for both you and your clients. And let me explain why. So picture this. If you are especially a healthcare provider in an insurance-based clinic, or maybe you're a massage therapist in a high volume clinic, or a yoga teacher just kind of racing around and you feel pressured for time. Maybe you've got back-to-back patients or clients stacked in 15, 20-minute, 30-minute slots, or even if you're a practitioner, healthcare provider like I was with my brick and mortar, scheduling people on the hour. Imagine having a patient walking in with chronic low back pain. Often in a high volume clinic, or especially in an insurance based clinic, you've got 15, maybe 20 minutes to assess, treat, give them maybe 3 exercises or a diagnosis and a couple exercises, or maybe you used to fire hose or maybe you fire hose like I used to. You give them like 5 to 10 exercises because you want to help them so much. And then you get them out the door so you can chart or just quickly move on to the next person. So when you're interacting with them, it becomes do these stretches, ice this, take this, you have this diagnosis, here's why, do these 5 stretches, and then come back. Or if you're some healthcare providers, you don't even say come back. You just, that's it. You're left to do it yourself. And as a practitioner, there's more going on. Their pain is connected to their stress, how they're living their life, their patterns of what they're thinking, their patterns of what they're doing, their desk setup, their home setup, the fact that they haven't slept well in months, the argument they keep having with their partner, the arguments they keep having with their kids, what they mean about all these arguments, what they mean about themselves, how they're doing in their job, how they don't have a job, all of these things, their lack of time add to whether they get results or not, and with their health and wellness and how they're feeling in their body. But the thing is, as a healthcare provider or as a really busy practitioner, often you don't have time to get into any of that in the traditional healthcare Western medicine model. It's not designed for that, right? It's the big thing where people say that Western medicine is reactive, not preventative. And you know this, and you even market to this for online on Instagram. I see it all the time. Like, I get to the root source of your problem. If you feel like Western medicine doctors have told you your labs are normal, everything's fine, but you feel crappy, I'll figure it out, right? So I see that you're getting there, but there's a layer missed. And let me explain what that is. And it's more of a mindset shift for you. And the good news is when you figure this out after today's episode, you're going to see it now. You won't be able to unsee it. You're going to be filling a massive gap that Western medicine is leaving open, and it's going to make your programs so much more valuable, especially if you're adding in online programs. So this could mean and look like for my clients a lot of different examples. So let me give you some examples. You keep your brick and mortar, you bring in online classes, you bring in an online membership if you have the audience size, you bring in a standalone online program. Some of my clients, they go hybrid. They offer in-person one-to-one, virtual one-to-one. Super easy to go online that way. You can bring in a 3-month or a 6-month program that includes in-person and online sessions. You can go 100% online. Have a 4-month program, offer 8 calls, lab report and analysis. I can never say that word. You're analyzing their functional lab. You are DMing them in between to go over protocols, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many options to make this work for you. And no client that I work with is exactly the same. And that's the very cool thing. But one common awareness for them in their programs that make their programs successful for their clients and successful for them with their schedule is this. They are working on all that other stuff that Western medicine typically, or a busy mill clinic typically doesn't have time for, meaning in their wellness and online programs, they're building in pattern disruption, behavior changes, healthy lifestyle changes. They're building in the mindset that as a practitioner, they're not just going to diagnose. In fact, in the wellness model, when you're online and you're working outside of your state licensed practices, right? You can't diagnose anyway. So we're letting that go in the wellness and online model. We're not diagnosing. But what we are doing is getting to the root, pointing the clients in the right direction. We are, depending on your scope of what certifications you may have to work with people outside your state, you may or may not give protocols. But here's the thing, even if you're not giving protocols, you can still greatly influence change in your clients' lives by doing this. Asking questions, asking lots and lots of questions. That is the main shift. In fact, I had a client and he came to me and, we were doing business coaching, but one of the things he kept saying to over and over again was the amount of questions I ask and how I'm always, digging deeper to determine what the true blocks are for him. And so I think, and that's what I do differently as a business coach, is I bring this model into my business coaching. So yes, I'm giving strategy. I'm giving the proven roadmap. I'm giving the pathway that has worked for me and many, many, many of my clients and will work for anyone as long as you stick with it. But I also am bringing in that mindset and nervous system component that gets to why. Because here's the truth. As we move forward with AI, information is going to be readily available. Now, you and I know that AI can be generic. AI can miss the whole picture. AI can not see these nuances at times. And definitely what it can't do is get to the root of the blocks and help to heal the blocks through nervous system and coaching awareness and insights for a person that you can more efficiently do and effectively do as a provider, as a coach, as a practitioner. And so that's what we're talking about today. If you're a physical therapist, if you're a massage therapist, an occupational therapist, a yoga therapist, you got into this work because you want to help people to heal, really heal, to get to the root of their issues. And when you go online or bring in online to your in-person work and you structure your program in such a way, you're going to build in the time to actually do that. And part of that work is through asking questions and supporting them through pattern disrupts and implementing new healthy lifestyle changes and healing their nervous system. Now, I'm not saying that you in your program have to do all of that. You might specialize, you might work with a team of other practitioners and you refer back and forth. Or like for some of my clients, they actually hire a behavioral coach or they hire a co-coach to help do some of that work within their program. Again, the opportunities are endless. I'm just providing an awareness and insight here. And that is exactly what I do in the 100K Blueprint program is I help practitioners who maybe do feel too busy to do this work or want to bring an online program and want to help get to the root with people, but aren't sure how to structure a program so they still have time freedom and they don't feel locked into back-to-back, one-to-one all day, every day, because there are ways to do both. And sometimes I'll be honest, and I had to work through this myself. You have to phase it depending on the size of your audience. Phase like one-to-one with your revenue. It's a puzzle jigsaw, making sure all the pieces line up to form the complete holistic picture of your business and the roadmap and the compass of where you want to go. But sometimes you have to bring in the structuring of the program and how many one-to-one calls would desire in a week to give you the freedom that you want. You have to do it in phases depending upon your audience size and your revenue goals, but it's possible. It is possible because you know that a certain patient's shoulder pain isn't just about the rotator cuff. It's not just about strengthening. It's not just about inflammation. It's actually why all that inflammation and irritation is there. It's about knowing how they're holding tension for feeling like the sandwich generation of caring for their aging parent and caring for littles. The fact that they've been just told to rest it for 6 months and step away from the activities that is a stress outlet for them. Now they're deconditioned, scared to move, and super stressed because they aren't doing their stress outlets, right? In a traditional model, you don't have time to address any of that. But in the online wellness place, if you structure your program right, you do. Here's the gap that a lot of practitioners are missing. Getting to the root of someone's issue, health issue, doesn't just mean finding the hormonal balance that Western medicine missed. It doesn't just mean discovering they have a mineral deficiency or a nervous system dysregulation or fascial restriction. Getting to the root means actually coaching them on the implementation. Means asking questions like, what makes you feel this way? When does this flare up? What have you tried before and why didn't it stick? Or if you're, gave them an action plan, a strategy, and they come back and didn't implement it, it might be asking why, okay, with no judgment, no criticism, it's getting rid of that mindset that they're a non-compliant patient or a bad patient. No, this is where that is exactly what Western medicine is missing. This is exactly where they need your help. This is exactly coaching. They're not being difficult to being difficult. They actually just need your help. So you ask them, okay, this is great data for us to problem solve and troubleshoot together. Tell me, did you try it all? Or was there a block in trying? So you can figure out that block right away, right? Or if they did try, what happened? Was it a schedule problem? Was it a mindset problem? Are they avoiding uncomfortable communication with their partner, right? That is what you can help with. It means helping them implement new behavior changes, not just telling them what to change. Western medicine tells you what to do. It often misses this other section entirely, which is really preventative. And this is really what heals generational patterns. And I'm not bashing Western medicine. Don't get me wrong. It's great if you know what is already going on, or if you're like me and you have a genetic mutation and know that you need cancer screens to catch early. I mean, just how long has it been now? A year and a half, 2 years ago, cancer came back. It was caught very early. It was like a blip on my radar. So if I had not done Western medicine, that would have been as my GI doctor that helps me manage my Lynch syndrome says, that would have been a big problem. I could have sat there till it was stage 3 or 4. I wouldn't even known. Or maybe I would have started to feel symptomatic and eventually went in. But the point being is that because I am in Western medicine and I do go regularly to some amazing practitioners in Western medicine, if cancer pops up, most of the time, I am fortunate enough to be able to catch it early. So there's some really great things in Western medicine, right? I'm specifically talking about this one gap. And I've talked to Western medicine practitioners that are amazing in the Western medicine model, and they agree with me that right now there's this gap that Western medicine has, and maybe it'll never be fixed within Western medicine because of how it's set up within the insurance model that is reactive. And that's okay, because then that leaves room for us in the wellness and the coaching model to fill that gap. And that's okay. That's what we do. And then it's educating our clients on the value of this so they're willing to pay out of pocket, right? So the solution isn't just going online. It's understanding that going online gives you something in person, especially in an insurance-based or high-volume clinic, will never give you. Time and the freedom to really explore these issues for your clients, especially when you're aware, and you can build it into your online program, right? So they have access to your frameworks, your videos, your resources, your community, help in between calls, coaching to get these questions answered, coaching to bring the awareness for them, what their blocks are, and then be able to work through it. Nervous system healings. They have the continuity. They have support. They have time in between your calls to try to implement it and fail, because that's part of the process. The failing is part of the process. And you're there to help troubleshoot why the failure happened and then move forward. That's why I recommend with my clients that we build out 3 months, 6 month, even year-long programs for a higher ticket wellness program, especially with a smaller audience. Not to say I do have some clients that do have 6-week programs and you can get results in there. But it's for a very specific purpose. And they're usually lower to mid range, and it works holistically within the funnel, the complete holistic vision of their business within the funnel of their revenue goal, and or they have large audiences. But that is another topic. We'll move into more of the marketing side of all of this in a future episode. But the point is, if your online program is set up well, and again, it can be a hybrid of in-person and online or just online, you have time to coach them, not just treat them, right? You're going to be functioning as a wellness practitioner coaching, or a practitioner, not a healthcare provider just diagnosing and treating, AKA just giving them protocol and then you're on your own to do it. And like I said, here's what's wild. You don't even have to do all the coaching or these pattern disrupts or healthy lifestyle changes and implementation and nervous system healing. You don't have to do it all yourself. You can hire behavior coaches or co-coaches in your programs to help handle this. Again, this depends on your revenue goals, your profit goals, and what you're currently bringing in, but something to think about. So let's talk about some benefits of this model. Number one, you finally get to practice the way you want to practice, which for most of you is truly getting to the root and then helping to heal completely. Number two, you can actually get to the root because you have time to uncover what those blocks are, not just stay at the superficial level. You can ask questions about their time, about their living situation, about their desk setup, about their living setup. I remember one of my first online clients, she was locked up in her back and was stuck on the couch, and I got her from a complete sciatic disc flare off the couch, unable to move, to now functioning back in her day to day. And we were on a call online, and I saw her sitting at her kitchen tabletop. And I was commenting, oh, you have such a beautiful, gorgeous kitchen. It's so bright and white and light, which I could see through the Zoom call. And she was like, oh yeah, this is where I work most of the time. And I was like, whoa, hold up. You sit in these chairs for hours at a time, a bar stool chair? And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay, and that needs to change to prevent future back going out as you just experienced. And she was like, what? No one's told me that, because no Western medicine practitioner that she had gone to for her back flare up had ever been inside her house or even asked about her work setup situation. And so what we ended up doing, because she worked online herself, was create and get her an ergonomic chair, a sit to stand desk, different workstations so she can move around throughout the day. And she had a completely different work setup situation by the time we were done. To preventatively, now, of course, I cannot guarantee if the back would never lock up and give out the same way, but that had to be, oh goodness, 5 or 6 years ago. And we still communicate online now, maybe even 7 years ago. And she hasn't had that back flare up ever again like that. And so we did a pattern disrupt. We did a behavior change. We modified a lot in her lifestyle to support her body, so she could work, do the things that she loved, and she wasn't going to be stuck on the couch, not able to move for days at a time. Again, so that is what I'm talking about. You are going to get your clients better results this way. When structured well, in the complete holistic funnel for your business, you also will have the opportunity to serve more people, help more people, and bring in more revenue for yourself without overworking. And you're going to build a business that doesn't destroy your body, because you're not forced to see 30 to 40 patients a week doing manual therapy all day where your hands hurt, or driving around from studio to studio, demoing, 4 to 5 yoga classes a day, things like that. You can really set up your schedule to support your body. That's one thing I really noticed being hypermobile, is that I love my manual work. Love it. I love teaching yoga classes and even demoing. But too much is too much for my body. I injure myself. I throw myself out of alignment. My thumbs dislocate. I stay in a constant inflamed response. Like my adrenals get taxed. It's just too much. All these crazy things happen and my body starts breaking down in all kinds of ways. And so for me, when I moved online, I was really able to still do the work I love. And I even still have some impatient people come to my house, but I can choose how many a week I do. I still teach yoga. I choose how many somatic yoga classes I teach. And right now it's one a month, and that is great for me. So you get to choose and I tell you, I've never made as much money as I do right now, having my schedule the way I desire. Okay, so let's talk about some implementation strategies that you can do this week. Start bringing it into your in-person sessions if you have the time, or, sneak it in, but just start asking questions instead of just giving answers. The next time you're with a patient or a client, whether it's in person or online, instead of jumping to here's what's wrong and here's what you need to do, pause. Maybe if you're short on time, the way that, where you work, where it's structured, just ask one question, right? Pause and ask, tell me more about when this started. What else is happening in your life? Do you think anything else is contributing to this? What is your hunch? What have you tried before? What worked? What didn't? What do you think that was? What does your typical day look like for you? Walk me through it. What's your relationship with movement, food, rest, your body? What do you want to be able to do that you can't do now? I mean, this is just the start. When you have someone coming back consistently, then you can get into deeper, especially as they're trying to implement things, because then you can ask, okay, where did you get stuck in the process? What did you try? What worked? What didn't work? Things like that. And it gives you so much more information to actually help them. And number two, it starts training you to think like a coach instead of a healthcare provider or a volume-based practitioner. You're no longer just diagnosing and prescribing, you're understanding and guiding. Number two, to implement this week, build in implementation coaching, not just education. Most wellness practitioners who go online make this mistake. They create a bunch of educational content, videos on exercises, PDFs on nutrition, modules on stress management, and they think that's enough. They've got it, right? But it's not. It's the knowledge isn't the problem. And again, people are finding a lot of knowledge on AI. It's not everything, but there is a lot of knowledge on AI. It's the implementation. Your clients don't necessarily need more information. They need support doing the thing. So build this into your program. Weekly or biweekly coaching calls where you ask what worked this week, what didn't work, what got in the way. What do you need to change to make this more doable? What belief or story might be underneath you not being able to implement this? Then have check-ins. I use Slack personally, where they can troubleshoot in real time, a space where they can maybe submit something in for feedback, where they tried something and it didn't work, or where they can ask questions with you, a community space where they can help each other. Again, you can hire a behavior coach or co-coach to handle implementation piece while you handle the clinical expert piece. There's so many ways to do this, and I have clients doing this very successfully. They can bring in someone who specializes in habit change or mindset work. There's health coaches that are amazing health coaches, and what they really specialize is in that mindset piece. And that could be the missing piece. The key is you're not just giving information, you're supporting the behavior change. So you can start to implement that this week too. Okay, so two things you're going to try this week. It's asking the questions and then helping with the behavior change. Now, I know some of you are thinking, if I'm not a therapist or a coach, I'm a physical therapist, I'm a massage therapist, I'm a yoga therapist. I don't know how to do this coaching thing. Okay, I understand. At some point, now, you know me, I am forever certification junkie. I am in another certification training right now. This does not mean that you have to run out and get a certification right now. You might want to put a certification on your bucket list for 2026. It's also why I've included online practitioner skills within the 100K blueprint, included in the modules with how to structure an online program. So if you were to join that program, you might not need to do a certification right now. You might just put it on a bucket list. I am positive that you already do coach. You just don't call it that. Every time you ask a patient, why do you think this keeps flaring up? That's coaching. Every time you help someone troubleshoot why they're not doing their home program, that's coaching. Every time you've talked someone through their fear of movement or their frustration with their body, that's coaching. You're already doing it. You just haven't thought of it this way. You just need to have it more structured in your program. And now that I brought this awareness for you, you'll start to get more comfortable with like asking more questions, because you'll realize you do already do it. And then at some point, yes, get a coaching certification to make it even more structured, or even learn more questions to ask. Or for me, I'm going through this coaching certification. I'm picking up details to help make me a better coach that, sometimes I miss or that fall off. If you're thinking, but I'm in a clinic working for someone else, I can't control how much time I get with patients. This is exactly why you need an online program. If you have a job, you can bring in an online program to support those patients. You might not be able to actively market to those patients, but you can have an online presence on Instagram. And hey, if they go research you and or you were to drop seeds in some sessions and they find you on Instagram and discover you have a program, hey, you can help them in between those sessions in a way that the insurance model or that high volume clinic can't serve them. So offer what your clinic job won't ever let you do because there's just not time for that. So you can build your own side hustle. And then as your online income grows, you can choose to keep both or transition fully online. And if you're thinking, well, this sounds like more work if I bring in, an online program, here's the truth. In the beginning, yes, because you do have to get used to working online. You do have to build an online presence. You do have to build that online program. You are building something new from scratch, but long term, when you get it rolling, it'll actually be less work than seeing 40 patients a week. Or if you're in a high volume clinic like I used to be in, 20 plus people a day, and that's work. And the online work is actually fulfilling versus soul crushing if you're just in the high volume churn and burn. Because you'll see people truly heal instead of putting band-aids on symptoms over and over again. So you really have to come down to the why of why you're doing it when you're doing this extra work. And sometimes, yes, hard work, especially if you have, you're marketing it, because there's a lot of growth edges to work through there, showing up vulnerably. Another question I get is, what if I'm not good enough at coaching yet? Well, you have two options: practice it and get better, go through certifications, get better, or hire someone who is. Bring a behavior coach into your program, partner with a mindset coach, collaborate with someone whose skills complement yours. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You just have to build a system that supports the whole person healing and your program. And that system can include other practitioners who fill your gaps that you don't cover. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. Hopefully you're inspired. I can't wait to hear how the question asking and the pausing and helping people implement go this week. Message me on Instagram at Ignite Your Wellness Business with a UR and let me know how it goes. I want to hear. And if you were inspired to add some things to your online program or think about online and wellness work a little bit different and start to see how there is a difference between just in-person work and online work. And we're going to follow up with this episode on how to really get into the mindset of marketing this type of work as well, so people really understand the value and you increase your revenue and work towards that time freedom without the burnout. Okay, that's what I've got for you this week. I hope you have a great week and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Oh, and if this really spoke to you, make sure you get into the Revenue Shift workshop where I'm going to go over the steps and actually how to do this for yourself. And you can also prepare for the 100K Blueprint enrollment. Doors will be opening. We'll start the last week of February, so you can get in there and work in community and get that online program off the ground. This episode is brought to you by Jane, a practice management software and EMR designed for wellness practitioners who value structure, simplicity, and calm growth. If you're a skilled wellness practitioner who's tired of tech overwhelm and administrative chaos, Jane understands. Your expertise should be focused on client transformation, not wrestling with software. Jane provides the structure and systems you need to run a sustainable practice. With Jane's streamlined online booking, your clients can easily schedule at times that work for them. With smart features like waitlist notifications, those last-minute cancellations become opportunities, not losses. It's a simple way to maintain consistent revenue without the constant hustle of filling your calendar. During sessions, Jane's AI-powered documentation helps you capture important notes, efficiently allowing you to stay present and focused on delivering exceptional care. After appointments, you can end on a healing note rather than a transactional one by charging cards on file and handling rebooking before the client leaves, creating the organized, professional experience your business deserves. To discover how Jane can help you build a more structured, scalable wellness practice that works even when you're offline, resting, use the link in the show notes. And especially for you, Ignite Your Wellness Business listeners, when you're ready to implement the simple system that supports your growth, use code IGNITE1MO. So that's IGNITE1MO to get your first month complimentary. That code will also be in the show notes.